This may be the single most underreported story in the United States today, but you need to hear about it because while it's great news at face value, it also means we've got some more work to do in the future. Because I guarantee Donald Trump would love us to continue arguing about algae blooms rather than digging deeper and finding the structural rot beneath DHS. Now, you should all be aware that about 6 months ago, Kristi Noem's DHS went on a spending spree, buying luxury jets for personal use and spending over $1 billion on 11 abandoned warehouses, which they planned on remodeling so they could use them as camps where they could concentrate immigrants. And now here's the great news, because earlier this week, the New York Times came out with an exclusive report with news that DHS has now started the process of selling 7 of those 11 warehouses, trying to offload approximately $700 million of the $1 billion expense. And they're doing this for a variety of reasons, including local and political backlash and environmental lawsuits. Meanwhile, DHS's public excuse is that they no longer believe they need them for mass deportation. But that explanation sounds like a load of horseshit, so I chased down some numbers and you will absolutely believe what I have to share. First, a commercial real estate analytics firm reviewed the contracts, and they found that on average, ICE paid 11 to 13% over market value for each of the first 10 properties, wasting over $100 million of taxpayer dollars on the purchases alone, with the most absurd example being a warehouse in Salt Lake City that was just assessed at $97 million in 2025, but that ICE bought in March of 2026 for $145 million. And this happened the same month that Noem was fired, after the public found out her DHS spent over $200 million on a contract for ad campaigns that went to people who were personally connected to Kristi Noem's staff. On top of that, it was estimated that each one of these facilities would cost at least $600 million to retrofit because they were mostly hollow buildings designed to store merchandise, not humans. It's also absurd I was required to ask the question, was this ever the real plan? And I think it was, because these people are this reckless, this wasteful, and this incompetent. But I don't think it was the whole plan. So I did some extra digging and I found something called Project Saltbox. This is a group of independent investigators who have dug up DHS contracts. And what I found is that a majority of these warehouses were owned by companies that had chalked them up as losses in the years before selling. Meaning not only did taxpayers massively overpay for these properties, but they were bought by people who desperately wanted to offload them. In other words, by DHS using taxpayer dollars to overpay for properties that were already losing people money, we did someone a huge favor. So who are those people? We don't have all the answers because investigators are still digging, but we do know that one was a commercial real estate firm with roots in Russia, and another property was purchased from Blue Owl Capital, an organization led by Trump allies that sold a property to taxpayers that was estimated to be worth about $60 million for $120 million. And now it's on us to offload it to recoup the cost. And surely this is only the beginning of the story. So while yes, we should celebrate the end of Kristi Noem's tenure, and we should absolutely celebrate the liquidation of facilities that were going to be used for human rights violations, a new process is about to begin. As we track the sale of each of these properties to see exactly how much taxpayers are going to have to eat, and we shine a spotlight hotter than the surface of the sun on the swamp rats who benefited along the way in what was always going to be just another Trump grift.